What I love about watches is not the specs, it's the stories. And what I realize is that sometimes the best way to talk about a watch and its stories is just to have a conversation about it. So many of you know me, Tyree from Wrist Unwound, and some of you may know Riley if you kicked into the live stream. But today is gonna be something special. This is gonna be an interview, mostly him asking me questions, me probably asking him some questions as well. But we're just gonna talk about watches, talk about life, and see where it goes. And so with that, let's do a little cheers.
All right.
For our second. Yeah, we went live earlier, but it still counts. So what you got on the docket?
Yeah, so I figured we'd start out the day by talking the state of your collection.
Okay. All right, so when I think about my collection right now, I'm sitting at about 175-ish watches. I've gone through some phases at first where I was just trying to buy everything, where I was trying to focus on completing certain types of collections. Went through a phase where I was trying to get a bunch of different colors. But I think as I've gone along my collection journey, I've definitely matured and I've really tried to focus on buying watches that have meaning. So I've slowed down a lot. At one point I was buying a watch a week, multiple watches a week. Right now I'm probably maybe once a month, every other month or so, which is still like a lot compared to a regular person, but it's typically watches that have something special to me. I'm very comfortable with the watches in my collection, very happy about them. I don't have anything that I'm like really yearning to get right now. The most recent purchase was the Timex Atelier Marine M1A. Man, they gotta get a shorter title for that one, but I've absolutely loved that watch. Should have had a review posted about that one recently. But that one's been on the wrist, currently on your wife's wrist, that she's borrowing it right now. But I'm in a good spot with it. Like, there's nothing else that I really feel like I need. I'm generally pretty happy with my collection.
All right, let's go back to the beginning of your collection.
Oh,
which one was your first?
My first watch that I consider in my collection, which I think is important because I've worn watches a lot of my life, but most of them were like fitness watches. The first time where I made the intentional decision to buy a watch for like a collecting or a like aesthetic purpose was my Timex Expedition. It was a $45, maybe $50 watch that I bought on deployment. And that watch really started me into looking to watches more. And then my first like automatic watch was actually bought by you. It was the money you had sent me for a Christmas gift while I was deployed. I had been doing a lot of research, and that was when I bought the Timex Waterbury Open Heart. That, when we were talking about earlier, like, I guess that's probably also one of my most worn watches, but that was the first watch where I started to understand what collecting meant. And I started to appreciate automatic movements and appreciate like artistry. And I've spent hours among hours looking at that watch and looking at that movement. So, you know, those two are probably where I consider like my collection really starting.
Okay. I think you talked about this a little bit, but what are some of the seasons that you've gone through? And feel free to use like hand motions to figure out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
just to give us a timeline, basic timeline.
Okay. So
different seasons.
The beginning timeline, I would say the unawareness timeline, and I count that because there's watches that I had in that time that I didn't appreciate, and a lot of them were Timex Ironman 30 lap and it was a Garmin Fortrix, some kind of thing. At that point, that was when I was time conscious. I understood the importance of time. I actually kept track of the time, mostly focusing on track and cross country, but time mattered to me. Then I went through a phase of college where I just didn't care. I don't even know if I wore a watch. If I did, it didn't mean much. Got to Ranger school, went back to the Ironman because it's just the tough, reliable watch. And then kind of lost watches again. And I think I bought a few. I had a Pulsar, had some other like random watches just for like military balls and date nights. And then it was getting into the deployment, getting that first Timex, buying the automatic. And when I came home from deployment, that phase of my life was just like, bye. And I think anyone who's started out collecting, and there's a reason why I think they call it an addiction, because I was like addicted and I was buying 2 to 3 watches a week every single week until my collection ballooned to over 100 watches within the first year. Like I was going crazy. After that, I started to like, after I got my itch of tasting all these different types of watches, it was like, okay, I want the rarest ones I could find. So then I went through a phase of trying to buy nothing but limited edition watches. trying to buy limited editions, trying to buy just like unique history ones. So I bought one that was for Olympic athletes in the 1980s, just all those different things. From there to what was like more functional, and just like what did I actually need? And then I started to transition to like memory watches. So for birthdays, for special occasions, for events, change of command. And that's where I think I am now, is just kind of going through every watch I try to tie it to a memory or an event before I buy anything else.
That's cool.
Subscribe.
So how's your wife felt about your collection journey?
Ooh, oh man. All right, so, she supports me. Now, I think in the beginning she was like just confused because like no one she had ever knew cared about watches. Then she thought it was a phase. And then she was like, oh, this is a thing. This is like a real thing. And I think she found a lot of frustration with like the packages lining up at the door, where I think she is with it now. And babe, if you watch this, just let me know in the comments, you know. I think she understands the importance to me. And she realizes that like I'm not buying watches just for like the fun of it, which I was in the beginning, not gonna lie. I bought a lot of watches just because they had cool colors. Now they mean so much more to me. And so the most recent, the Timex Marine, one of the reasons I actually got that watch was actually Hannah's decision. And so over the last month, I was going through a lot. Tried out for a job, was unsuccessful, started struggling with some other things, had some issues with school, and just was really like in a slump. And I was like, man, I gotta really get myself out of this. I was struggling with YouTube, struggling with life. And when Timex announced that they were starting a new line, you know, as a Timex nerd, like I was very excited about it. And I think she saw that excitement in me and saw like, okay, he's getting back to his old self. And she saw how much I wanted it. And so like, you know, we're all adults. I got a job, she got a job, but I was like, hey babe, like before I drop $1,000, like I would really like to get this watch. And she usually pushes back a lot harder than on a $100 watch. But she was like, hey, like you deserve this, you need this. And so for me, super excited just to get it. And I felt like it was a changing point in like, you know, my luck. You know, I don't completely believe in luck because I think that's when preparation meets opportunity. And I believe the Lord puts a lot of things in place to give us those opportunities. And so I'm gonna say it's divine, right, that the Lord gave me this watch, but I think it helped me change my mindset and refocus on what was important. And so I believe she's supportive. I think she understands the meaning behind watches. And, you know, now I have a whole studio here, you know. Yeah. I think she sees that it's more than just this. It's about a community. It's about other things as well.
Yeah. What kind of hobbies does your wife have?
Other than yelling at me about my Amazon purchases and making Amazon purchases of her own, she's a big reader. We're both big readers. She reads a lot more than I do now, especially because of school. She's a runner as well. She's training for a marathon she has coming up. I've tried very hard to get her into watches, unsuccessfully, but we're working on it. And so she has a few hobbies of her own, but that's mostly what she does. A lot of reading, and then us taking turns with the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you support her in those hobbies?
For running, I think it's important to give the person time and space to have their own thing. Yeah. And so rather that be she's just taking the kids so that I can come here and record videos, or I'm taking the kids in the mornings that she can go on her long runs. I think that's a big part. And I think just being active and present in it. And so, you know, when she comes back, asking engaging questions like, hey, like how was your run? How, like, what do you need? You know, when we're looking at sports stuff online, like trying to like, hey babe, have you considered this? And it is helpful, the fact that I was a collegiate runner at one point. So I do have like a background in it, but also trying to meet her where she's at. And so I think I have another video talking about like how to get people into watch collecting, and it's about understanding where they are. Like, I'm not gonna like explain to her the intricacies of a Grand Seiko spring drive movement.
So cool though.
Yeah, it is so cool though. But with hers is, hey, like, how was your run? How was the pace? Like, trying to understand what she's thinking about things and trying to meet her where she's at. So I think that's how I try to be supportive. Hopefully I am, but yeah. She'll probably be the better judge of that than I am.
For sure. How has your hobby, your collecting hobby, and your journey impacted your daughters?
It's definitely impacted my oldest daughter a lot more. You guys have probably seen Peyton is always a part. She's a part of my main ads. I usually like, maybe we drop it right here. She pops out the shark costume and says subscribe, and so she loves being a part of it, and we film videos together and stuff like that. For Malia, she has an appreciation for watches, but she's 3, you know, like she's turning 4, so it's a little different, but they understand that daddy loves watches. They understand the importance of time. They enjoy hanging out in the studio with me when I'm taking pictures and stuff like that. I think it's interesting, even if the watches hasn't completely seeped in, the photography aspect definitely has. And so they love taking pictures of things. Like they have their own types of cameras, and Lee has a Bluey camera, and so like they understand that part of the memories. They understand the importance of the stories, and so they're getting there. I can see them long term stealing some of the watches out of my collection, but yeah, it's been good.
Which ones are the favorites so far?
Malia likes what she calls the doggy watch. It's the one that has Snoopy on it. Peyton loves the lemon watch, and she always like, yeah, lemon watch. And she likes the ones that we have multiple of. So like I have a Timex Ironman James brand. We both have that one together. I think she really likes whatever's on my wrist at the point. She's pretty happy just hanging out with dad, which is nice until she's a teenager. But yeah, I'm enjoying that. She has her own like little collection as well. But yeah, she's pretty good about it.
Are there any lessons that you've learned from your collection journey that you'd like to instill in your daughters?
Lessons? Okay, there's probably a few, but the ones that I can think of immediately, I think for one is the value of time. And we don't just wear watches, just, you know, like I wear them for the memories, but like they do serve a practical purpose of like actual measurement of the Kronos of time, which is like that, the metrics. And I think it's important to understand being timely, using your time wisely, caring about it and not taking it for granted. But on the other side of Kronos, you have the Kairos, which is like those moments and those memories. And I think, you know, I try to tie moments with them. So when they got the school year, they started the new school year, I got them a watch. And so I'm hoping that they see the value in both the measurement of the Kronos and the Kairos. The thing that I also want them to take away is, you know, I talk about on the channel, what's more important than the specs is the story. And it's not just the story about like the watch on my wrist, but the person who's actually wearing it. And I hope that as they get older, they learn to appreciate people. Because behind every watch is a story, and every person has their own story as well. And I think that if you can value time and you can appreciate people, like you can really live out what God wants you to do, which is to help others. And I think that if they can understand those things, that's the key end state.
Speaking of that, how has faith impacted your collection journey?
I can't remember the exact verse, but it talks about where you measure, like where your heart is, that's where the value is. And so for me, when I think about watches, understanding what is my value in this? Am I caring about it because of a monetary value, or am I caring about it because of a meaning behind it? And for me, every time I look at a watch, it's a reminder of a story, but it's a reminder of others. So like the watch I got on today, I'm rocking my Galley S2. This was the watch that marked 1,000 subscribers. And for me, when I'm wearing this watch, it's making me remember how I fit into a larger piece, how I fit into a part of a community, and my role to be a positive member of that community. And I think that is a lot of like what faith is what are we doing to make the world better? What are we doing to help others? One of the Bible stories that has always stuck with me throughout my entire life is the story of the talents. And so for those who don't know the story, generally speaking, you know, there's 3 different servants and they're giving a certain amount of talents. And 2 of them take those talents and they invest them and they make them multiply. And then there's a 3rd one who doesn't invest it, and that one is not the faithful servant. I think about the gifts that God has given me and the ability to talk about watches, to talk about stories, to share this with others, and I don't want to sacrifice that. And so for me, you know, that's the reason why I end every video with God bless and peace, right? Like, for one, because I'm praying for my audience and I hope that they're doing well, but maybe that little spot is a reminder to someone to think about God. Maybe that's the opportunity for them to ask me a question about faith, and I can have that conversation. And, you know, if I do all of this, buy all these watches, do the whole studio, and the only thing that comes from it is one person gets saved, then like, it's worth it, you know? And so it definitely drives my life journey. It drives my social media journey. And I try to have that to be a huge foundation in who I am as a person.
So your collection timeline was something like very low, you know, and a steep incline, and then kind of down. Where in those areas would you say that faith definitely grew and maybe impacted the way that you thought about buying them?
Definitely the later half. In the beginning, it was such a consumption mindset that I don't think I was thinking about the end state. It was just trying to figure it out. As I've gone on in my journey and trying to see more behind it and appreciate the details more is where I think it's been closer in growing my faith journey and appreciating the little things. And that goes into all watches in general. I think anyone who has a hobby, even if you pick something obscure like unicycle riding, on a base level, people are like, okay, it's a unicycle. You ride a bike with one wheel. But as someone gets into their hobby, they learn the different types of unicycles, they learn different type of pedals, they learn different techniques and ways to learn how to do it, and they can appreciate it more. In this watch collecting hobby, there's watches. There's automatic, and there's automatic mechanical, and there's self-winding, and then there's different cost certification. You can dig deeper and deeper. And I think in all of that, it shows you the beauty of the world. It shows you the beauty of the creations that humans have made and that God has enabled us to do. And so finding beauty in the smallest things is such a big part. One of the watches that I really, really love that kind of hits on this message is the Giorgio Galli S1. And I don't think I brought one over here with me, but what's special about the Giorgio Galli is there's a small red gem on the dial. And the gem is a representation that the watch is automatic. It doesn't actually have to say anything. It's just those who know, and those who don't know. And it's those little reminders that are so cool and so powerful to me. And I really appreciate those. And so I try to, practice a moment of awe every day and just trying to appreciate the bigger things in life.
What goes through your mind as you pick out a watch for your day?
It depends how much time I got. You know what I mean? If I'm in a rush, I'm grabbing the first thing I can see and the first thing that's there. But honestly, it's a lot of practicality and also which watch hasn't been worn in a while. When you got 170 watches, you got to kind of figure out how to rotate them through. Right now, I'm in a good honeymoon phase, so I'm rocking the same watch all the time. I switch my straps out a lot. But it depends on the event. So if it's an event or something important, I'll put a lot more thought into it because I'm almost trying to encode that memory on that watch. So if I'm going out with Peyton, I'm more likely to wear her favorite watch. If I'm going out with Malia, I'm more likely to wear her favorite watch. If I'm going out with Hannah, I'm gonna wear something that's meaningful for both of us. And so it depends on the occasion, but on a typical day, I'm just kind of grabbing and going. But if it's a more meaningful event, I'll think through what is the message of the watch gonna say.
How do you see God's timing versus your timing in this collection journey or in life in general?
I think we have our own plans and the Lord makes fools of us oftentimes. I think that happens in collection. The Timex Worn and Wound collection, there was a couple variations and I really, really, really wanted a blue one. I love the color blue, wear a lot of blue in my natural life. And that was one I was trying to get, wasn't able to get it. And then eventually I kind of I don't say I settled, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to get the green one to see if I actually like it. And when I got it, I realized, oh, this is way better than the blue one would have ever been. Why do I use that story? I think that happens a lot in our own life. And I think there's times where we have plans of what we want and what we think we need. And then God is like, nah. And then it turns out in a total different way. If you would have asked me 3-4 years ago if I would be making YouTube videos about watches, absolutely not. But here we are talking about this and I've seen the own growth inside of myself and my own confidence grow and my abilities grow and the community I've been able to build grow and my mental health. And so, I never had this part of my plan, but I'm sure God did. And I think about things in my life that led me to this point that I would have never appreciated. The fact that I joined debate in high school and I didn't always want to do debate, so I joined radio speaking. And the skills that I developed in radio speaking, being able to bring that out here onto YouTube, right? Or, my hanging out with you. And you helped me have a greater appreciation for math and science. And that kind of grew later on. And now I'm appreciating the math and science between, movements. And you and me, we sat there nerded out about the spring drive movement for 30-40 minutes one day. And so, you never know what experiences are going to be in the long term. And so I think in short answer to that question though, is we make plans, but at the end of the day, you got to go with the flow. And if you grow where you're planted, you'll always succeed.
How has social media impacted your collection journey? So from the state where you were just buying everything that you could find that looked cool to you, to this point, both in your usage of it, and then also in your collection building?
It's been good and bad, and I don't know if it's been more good or more bad. I've definitely been influenced by influencers. But I think in the beginning, I definitely was like chasing what other people had and like starting to see that. And like even now, like there's a lot of watches in my collection. I see someone have it. And like I saw someone have it and like I want that watch now. And like Raph from Timex Vintage Online, on Instagram, you got Heritage Timex. A lot of the posts that they would have, I would see it and like, I need to get this watch. And so, and that side, I would say is probably more negative than good because I'm like chasing something for, I don't know what kind of validation. But I would say on the positive side, the most beautiful thing I've been able to find is the community. When I first got into watches, the whole point was I needed a hobby. I was like, dude, I'm working too hard. My wife's like, you need to do something that's for you. And so getting into watch collecting was a way to find some internal happiness and do something that was uniquely my own. Like it wasn't competitive. It was just like here. And then started on Instagram. I realized that I wanted to tell more stories. Then I branched into YouTube and had a lot of help from some great people. And then now we're here and, making videos, working with a team and, having my best friend from high school being able to interview me. So I think it's turning out pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. All right, let's go back to your collection a little
bit.
What do you think is the next watch in your collection?
Well, since I just bought one for almost over $1,000, and money is definitely still something I have to calculate in. I don't know. The next watch probably hasn't come out yet. And the reason why I'm saying that is when I look through a lot of the vintage watches out there, there's things that I appreciate and that I like, but it's nothing that I really want to buy yet. The closest I've got to buying another watch was the Timex Japan, the metal version, the steel versions of the Ironman. Got really close to buying the black and gold version of that. And like, if I find a good deal on a used one, I'll pick it up. But for new watches, nothing yet. I got some watches I've been looking at Sin, looking at Longines, but I don't know what that event would be. The next time I probably buy a big watch is when I graduate in the spring. So that I'm more likely to buy more camera equipment than I am to buy another watch here soon.
All right, what's your favorite watch? And then what's one that you would wear for the rest of your life?
Ooh, favorite watch. So I did bring a couple watches here to think through. And so when I think through favorite watch, it's like kids, it's hard to pick your favorite, except for there are definitely times where I like one more than the other. And I like the other one more on other times. But a watch that just comes to mind is my Timex Expedition North Titanium. This was a gift to me from my aunt, who I absolutely love. This is a watch that I got when I took command. I've jumped out of planes with it, I've scratched it up, I beat it up, and it's taken a licking and kept on ticking. It's also just a great, reliable watch. And kind of going to that second question, a watch that I would wear every single day, it would probably either be this one, just because it's a perfect Gato watch, it has water resistant screw down crown, it's gonna make it, or, and I don't think I brought it with me, is my Timex James brand collab of the GMT. I love GMT movements, that's probably my favorite complication. So those would probably be the two. And my third one, I know you said pick one, but okay, it depends on the day. Timex Ironman. You can't beat an Ironman. It's just tough, reliable, gets the job going. Maybe when I'm old, I'm not trying to actually look at the hands on the clock, something digital, but probably one of those three. Okay. It depends on the day.
Right on. Same question for straps. Do you have any particular favorite type or?
Okay,
color.
If I could only go to one company, I'd probably go Strap Habit.
Okay.
They just have a great variety of straps. They have a lot of straps that can cover all my brands. If I had to just pick one strap, singular, for the rest of my life, wouldn't be a bracelet. It would be probably some kind of NATO. Seat belt, probably, because I like the way it feels. It's pretty water resilient. It's tough. It's reliable. It probably that. If I had to pick a black Montreux rubber strap, like that's just, you just can't really beat that. So I gave you more than one answer, but that's, it depends. It just depends.
Right on. Are there any watches that you regret?
When we're getting ready for this interview, you mentioned this, and I thought about it, and I can't think of a specific watch, but I will say the type of watch that I would regret is whenever I was trying to impress someone else. Anytime I bought a watch to like get likes or get views or try to like it wasn't really me. And so over time I've grown to love those watches, and there's one of the many. So I couldn't pick out a specific one, but anytime I bought a watch to try to impress somebody, like even some of my impulse buys, like, I kind of regret, because I'm like, I could have spent the money on something else, but they're all part of the lesson. So no specific watch that I'm like, yeah, it's done.
What are some of your favorite unique complications?
Okay, so there's two that stick out. The first one I look at is the Timex Q Continental, and it's the GMT feature. I love the GMT being at the 6 o'clock. I just think that's just such a good way to display that feature. I love that one. That's the most useful of my favorite complications. The second one of my favorite is more for the history of it, and it's gonna be the data link. So for those who don't know, the Timex Data Link was really one of the very first smartwatches that came on the market. This watch was designed it actually was certified by NASA to go to space, but it allowed them to connect to a computer so that you can link your data link. And it had this like RF radio signal that can download like contacts and calendar updates. And so when it comes to features, this is one that you obviously don't see anymore, but it's just like a super cool historical feature. And then the last complication I think is the best is Indiglo, because like when you're looking at night, like Lume is cool until you have Indiglo, and it's like, well, all right. Yeah, there's nothing else that really beats that, and so Indiglo is definitely a top 3 complication.
Yeah, I would agree. That's probably my favorite for sure.
Would you pick Indiglo over a date window?
Yes.
Really? Those are close to me. I think I would go. I'm awake more in the day than I'm at night, so I'm gonna go date window.
Okay.
I love a good date window. I don't know. One of the two.
Yeah, I feel like the times that you need Indiglo are the times that you can't reach for your phone.
Yes, that's fair.
The times that you need your date, you can usually reach for your phone.
Yeah, but also typically when I have a date, it's because somebody asked me, and if I don't know it, I could just also ask them. So,
yeah.
I might be convinced. Like the subway takes, like I 100% just say I agree now. Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna pull out a few questions that the wives prepared.
Oh, okay. Let's see what they got.
All right. First one. Which watch reminds you of me and why?
And by me, is it referring to Riley Williams or referring to my wife?
Yes, Riley.
Okay. The watches that remind me of you, it's 2. For one, I'm glad I brought it over here. It's the DIY Watch Club watch, and that's for a couple reasons. For one, I started building this watch, and because of life and children, my kids kept getting in the way, and I couldn't finish it. And you came in and finished the watch build for me, and it reminds me of you not only because you physically built the watch with your own hands, but in my life, you've always been there for me, and you've always come through when I needed you. And so when I needed someone to finish a build for a watch, or be a best man at my wedding, or name my kid after, it's been you. So I think about that, which also makes me think if it wasn't for this one, it would be my Timex Ironman Flix. One of my favorite watches. It got a lot of scratches on it because it's got a lot of use in it. What makes the Ironman so special is that it's a watch that can take a look and keep on ticking, that you can put it down, not have to worry about it, pick it up, and you know it's still gonna be there and it's gonna take care of you. That's like you. Whether I text you back or don't, because I'm an absolutely horrendous texter. We could go 5 months without talking. We could see each other every weekend, but we always can pick off exactly where we left off. And so, one of the watches that I would say I'd keep with me the rest of my life is an Ironman, and as a friend I would want to keep with me the rest of my life. Yeah, so either the watch you built with your own hands or Timex Ironman. So.
Right on. I like both of those choices.
What about you? What watch makes you think of me? Your watch knowledge is not as vast as mine, so it's a little bit harder of a question.
It's a good thing that we got an editor.
Yeah.
What's her name again?
Her name, Jay. Keep this part in. Keep this part in. Yeah.
I really appreciate you.
He's like, edit out
it's
this
moments like these that, man, your job is amazing.
No, we keeping it all in. Or I guess you could describe the ideal watch. If you could describe a watch, imaginary, that would remind you of me.
I mean, first, it's got to be black.
Yeah, that's got to stay in. All right, that's fair.
Just like the two that you picked for me.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, that's pretty good. That's
they're like 7/8 black.
Yeah, I mean, that's about you, yeah. And part plant, 1/8 plant. Okay, that's fair enough. That's it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I think that'd be first. Just do your running. I mean, it's probably got to be some sort of digi, because I just associate digis with working out.
That's a fair point. Oh man, we've been going for a good minute. I like that.
Oh wow, who knew?
Yeah, it tells you time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, it does. And when you got a great editor to cut out all this stuff.
Nah, this is all staying in.
Right on. Yeah, I'd have to think about that.
Okay. Want to ask a couple more of the wife questions and then wrap it up?
Yeah, we can do that. All right. What are 2 things you ask yourself before buying a watch?
I asked, will my wife get upset if I buy this watch? And if she's going to be upset, will it be worth it? No. I think about my rules for watch collecting. If you're going to buy a watch, follow 2 rules. Buy a watch that tells time and buy a watch that's going to make you happy. If you have to choose between the two, always buy a watch that makes you happy. So I think about, is this watch going to actually make me happy in the long term? And can my finances support it? And or will my wife yell at me? And those are probably the 2 considerations that I think about.
Okay, I'm going to come back to the wife questions. I'm going to do a line of questioning right quick.
Okay.
Have you ever felt imposter syndrome?
In life or watches?
While pursuing this YouTube channel.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Every single time I record, every time I go live, yes, every time. When you look at the great watch collectors, the Urban Gentry, Max, you look at Teddy, you look at Watch Chris, like these are people that I've watched for so long and I like look up to, and I don't think I'm as good as they are, and I try not to judge myself to them. And then I think the other thing I struggle with is like a lot of topics have already been covered, right? And so when I see one of the people that I respect and they make a video, I'm like, damn, well, I can't make that video. But I've had to show myself as like, hey, like I have my own unique voice, just like they have theirs. And so I just have to tell it from my end. And so I faced imposter syndrome with the creation journey. I faced imposter syndrome too with my collecting journey. Like I'm primarily a Timex collector. And so like when you're around people with Rolexes, like they don't always understand. And it takes a certain sense of self-confidence to walk in a room full of Rolexes and rock a Timex, you know? But I'm proud of where I collect. I'm proud of who I am. And so, you know, I still do it, but it definitely is, you know, it's a little different.
Yeah. What was do you remember the first time that you felt that way?
I don't remember the first time, but like I'll even say recently, I went to the Rolex dealership in Kansas City, and I had a moment right before walking in if I was going to take off my watch, because I was like, I don't really, you know, I was wearing, it was an entry-level Timex, but it was one I really enjoyed. It was the Heritage Kronos, and I was like, there's a store that sells Rolexes in Texas. And I was like, no, like this is who I am. Like I love Timex, and like, why should I change for them? But it ended up having a great conversation with the salesman there, whose birthday was recently. Hope he's doing well. But no, I definitely had that moment of like, how will people perceive me? Mm-hmm. But then I remember like, you know, like who am I? And Timex represents who I am. I'm an affordable, regular, everyday man that can take a licking and keep on ticking. You know what I mean? Not literally, I'm not trying to lick anybody, but you know what I mean? But, you know, and so I think what the brand stands for is important to me, and I think it represents who I am, and so, yeah.
Absolutely. Going back to the wife questions, what do you think we gain or lose moving away from analog or digital watches to smart watches?
I think people think that they're gaining efficiency by having a watch that can answer the phone and answer text messages and count your steps. But I think what they're actually gaining is extra anxiety and clutter in their own minds. When's the last time your step counter actually changed the way you performed and acted in your life? At the end of the day, you know if you worked out or not. You know if you walked enough or not. Like, that text message can wait the 10 seconds that it takes you to pick up your phone. But I think we get in this world where we feel like we need this and you're just constantly getting message after message after message. But when you take the time to go analog, it allows you to slow down and appreciate the time for what it is, but as well as appreciate the story and the meaning behind the watch. When you're wearing an automatic watch, you don't have to, but you should consider the hundreds of years that it took to get to that point, and the science and the technology and the amount of people who have worked to get to there. And so I think having an analog watch allows you to appreciate the world a little bit more and slow down, even though that time is moving constant. Man, that's a bar. Might be a t-shirt.
What does the phrase "takes a lickin' and keeps on tickin" mean to you beyond watch as a philosophy?
I mean, there's different contexts. You know, with me and my wife, that might have an entirely different meaning versus the world. Hope I don't get demonetized for that. But for me, I think it's a mindset that we have to have. Life is gonna throw things at you. Like, and how are you gonna respond? Are you gonna break? Are you gonna crumble? Or are you gonna keep going? And, you know, I think back of a personal moment when I was in college. I got cut from the track team in college, and D1 team, you know, I wasn't doing the best. I saw the writing on the wall. And, you know, I'll never forget, like, walking to my locker to clean it out and then seeing everybody going on with practice. And I was like, man, like, life's gonna move on with or without you. You got to learn to move on with it, right? And man, you're gonna take a licking. Life's gonna give you the licking. It's up to you if you keep on ticking. But time is. If you want to sit and pout, 10 minutes is still 10 minutes. 1 minute still will have 60 seconds. So what are you gonna do with it? And so for me, it's like, hey, like, whatever life throws at you, like, all right, yeah, dust your shoulder off, get back into it, keep on moving. So that's what the phrase means to me.
What is something you think everyone should watch out for in their day-to-day lives? And pun intended, watch out for.
They should watch out for others. You never know what someone else is going through. And you could be the person to make a difference. You could be that light, you could be that smile, the whole door. You know, oftentimes I think we watch out for stuff for ourselves. But I think if everyone focused on making the people around them's lives better, the world would be so much better in general. And so I think the thing we should watch out for is other people and what they can need.
All right, last question, close out the interview. What's the most meaningful watch story you've heard from someone else?
Wow, that's incredible. Because funny story to go into that. On wristunwound.com, people were able to submit stories, right?
Absolutely.
So at first I thought that no one really liked it because I had only gotten like one story. And so I was like, all right, well, you know, I got to figure out another way to sell it. They were all going to a separate part of my email.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so that was embarrassing. So there was 15 stories in there that I was able to kind of read through. And there's so many different powerful ones. But the ones that I think are the most powerful that I heard of was a gentleman, and it was about why he got into watches. And I think this is a good story to kind of end it on. He was actually a foster parent, and his foster child had gotten taken away from him. And in that moment of not having the child, he was looking for something to find meaning, to just fill the void. And that was when he got into like watch repair and just working on his watches. And just valuing and looking at time. Now, end of the story, more happy end, he was eventually able to get his get the foster son and his now son back and adopt him. So it's a beautiful thing, but I think it shows the power of collecting and how different people come into the space. Some people inherit watches from their family, some people buy it after a major promotion, but some people are looking for something more and they stumble upon this hobby. And I think that's why, you know, going back to my other point of watching out for other people, like, you don't know what someone's going through. You know, you don't know, collectors and YouTubers and people on Instagram, like, you don't know what's going on behind the screen. And so it's so important to be kind and caring and to love one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for.
Well, thank you, bro.
And
let me say a few words to
oh,
close.
yeah.
Okay. You are definitely the most resilient person that I know.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, the most amazing. I really appreciate all that you've done in my life. And I appreciate the time to interview you today.
Hey, look, next time we're gonna have to bring your collection out here, have you on here, another round. So you guys have to let me know. Did you guys like this format? Is this something we should do again? And then what other stories would you have liked to hear? Her. Boy, if you made it this far, you're already a real one. So, man, that was embarrassing. But guys, thank you so much for this time. Thank you so much for the interview. Love being able to talk about this and share it with my best friend. So, praying for you all as you guys go out in the world, and wish you the best. God bless and peace.